This is your sports show on Fox Sports Radio KMNS with Curtis Anderson. The number to call is 224-6200.
What is 224-6200, your sports show, and now the Musketeer Coaches Show. It's right here at Bob Rose North End Zone in Leeds. We talk Musketeer hockey every Tuesday during the second hour of the show, all through the Musketeer season. And today we have some special guests. We have assistant coaches now. Taylor Ward, he is up first. He drew the short straw, or wanted to get it done with. One of the other things in there, but Taylor, tell me about yourself. This is your first year in Sioux City.
It is.
Where did it start? I mean, where did you play hockey into? When did you decide to coach hockey and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I was born in Denver, and I kind of played a lot of youth hockey through Denver, through the East Coast, Pittsburgh, finished up really in Wisconsin, so kind of from Midwest and East Coast, Pittsburgh and Midwest, and then started playing AAA hockey, travel hockey down in Houston, Texas, where my dad was down there with the Houston Aeros, an AHL team, Minnesota's old farm team. So I started playing there and then played juniors. I played very, very briefly in the USHL in the preseason for the Waterloo Blackhawks, and then went from there to the 3 years in the North American Hockey League, mainly in Texas as well. So it's been a very big journey along a lot of different states, and now I'm here. So
well, and I think if it's North American hockey, I think Texas is where it probably is the best spot.
That's the most entertaining part. There's a lot of big buildings down there we played in, and it was a lot of fun for me. And then college was in Wisconsin as well at UW Eau Claire, and then I started my coaching career there as well with the women's hockey team for 3 years. So,
what is it about UW Eau Claire that has a Musketeer? I mean, it just seems like we've had enough connection through that area. Let's just say.
I think they've had a lot of success, especially the past 10 years, and then early when Coach Luke Strand was there, they had a lot of success then as well, and it's been kind of a hub for the Midwestern kind of coach and player to go through, as far as whether it's a tournament or playing there in college. There's a lot of good people and a lot of good coaches and hockey people around that town. So it's been kind of a staple in my family to go there as well. My dad went there, my mom went there, they met there, so it's been.
Well, then you had to go, right?
Yeah, it was kind of.
Now, didn't they
there or nowhere?
Maybe in the last 5 years won a title.
Yeah. My freshman year in 2013, we were national champions. We beat Oswego State 5-3 at the old Lake Placid Arena, where the 1980 team won, and we stayed in their same locker room and came from behind twice to win it as well. So it was kind of an eerie feeling, but it was really cool to win it there.
It had to be fun. I remember passing through Eau Claire on one of our trips, and I think the team skated there.
Yep.
And it was.
I remember like a few USHL teams would come through to practice there, and we always watched in kind of an awe as far as how skilled and fast these guys are. So
I think it was Paulie that set that up. I assume
really?
Keith Paulson as well. It has to be a small world in Wisconsin hockey, right?
Of course. They're everywhere now, though. Blue Golds are everywhere.
Have you always wanted to coach?
Yeah. I think, growing up around a coach and being a coach's kid for my pretty much entire life, it's been always there, and kind of like what I've seen, whether it's after school or before school, my dad always doing some kind of coaching thing. So it's been in my blood. My grandpa's a coach. He's a long-time football coach and basketball coach and track coach. So the segue and from playing to coaching was kind of always generation to generation happened, and I never really completely honestly knew that was it until college. I had talked to Luke Strand obviously, and then Coach Lowen, who I played for there, and Eric Strand, who I worked with there, and it just kind of happened naturally. As soon as I was done playing, I got a call within 2 days to start helping with the women's team. So it happened very quickly, and I'm glad it did. And after the first practice, I knew that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life. So
it was a good practice, then, huh?
It was. What the girls' game is pretty much the same as the men's. They work just as hard. They do the same things. They pay attention and they want to learn.
Same drills, same everything.
Yeah. And they listened and it worked, and it just kind of fell in from there. It was a lot of. I met a lot of good people and had a lot of good players that were with me, so it was a lot of fun.
Speaking with Taylor Ward, he is assistant coach with the Sioux City Musketeers. part of the Musketeer Coaches Show. Taylor, as you come in, kind of describe what areas are your concentrate on? I mean, what areas what do you do as a Musketeer assistant coach?
As an assistant coach, my first and foremost number one area is D, defensive area. Work with all the D throughout practice, and then in the games I'll be switching the D in and out and what pairings are going with who and what time. So working with the D first and foremost, and then also penalty kill. I'll work with the penalty killers usually twice a week. Before or after practice, we'll go through some drills and go over, what we can work on from the weekend before and kind of fix some things. So our penalty kill is aggressive, and for us to be aggressive, we need to make sure our guys are learning and fixing things throughout week to week. So
it has to be a penalty kill that players like with the aggressive play.
It is. It's for our team, we have a lot of speed, and we like to utilize it in all areas. So. Whether that's 5-on-5 or 4-on-5 or 5-on-4, we like to use that in this aggressive PK. We allow the guys to have some leeway when to go and when to hang back, and a lot of the times we're in the opposition's face.
If we look back at these last two games, Tri-City, it was 3-1, and then of course the exciting one on Saturday and the sudden death shootout over Sioux Falls. What did you see in the PK? What areas does it you need to improve on? One thing I always see about it is at the beginning of the year, it looks like beginning of the year hockey.
You're right. I'd say from Friday to Saturday, the guys need to get a little bit more comfortable with being in the zone, in our zone. I think when we pressure and we create that turnover and then send it length of the ice, our guys are very aggressive in chasing that same puck and keeping them in their own zone. Some of the details that we'll have to work on are basically in zone and how we, pressure to the outside and try and keep that puck to the outside. If the puck's on the outside of our dots and out of our house, we're fine. I think guys are just going to have to get more used to staying over pucks and create, suffocating them down in the corners a little bit more, and we're working on that day to day. So it should be fun to see what we can do with it this weekend for sure.
Coach, Sioux Falls scored on their first power play right away. After that, you shut them down.
Right.
What'd you do different, or what happened that's
different? We just had to change our mentality as D in the net front. Right now, our D are very good at reading situations in areas of the ice, and right now it's really just comes down to how hard we are in front of the net, picking up sticks, clearing shot lanes for Matt to see pucks, and then as soon as that shot does happen, making sure that we have the sticks in front so where they can't knock in the rebound, and then just winning a battle. It's usually a 2-on-2, 3-on-2 battle in front of the net, and if we have support coming back from our forwards that are up top and our D are looking for pucks and clearing pucks right away, then usually we're pretty successful in doing that. So from the first one, that first power play they scored on, it was a rebound in front, and they won the battle and put it in. And from there we focused on that battle in front and getting sticks out of the air and pushing bodies out of Matt's way so that he could either cover it or we could clear it. So. And that's what we did.
Musketeer Coach, who shows right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Curtis Anderson with you every week during the Musketeer season, talking Musketeer hockey Tuesdays in the second hour of your sports show. Our next contestant, Nick Brusa, is with us. He is an assistant coach with the Sioux City Musketeers, and so far, so good. I mean, there's no pressure at all, Nick. But Taylor did an amazing job.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
We'll see. Anyways, tell me about yourself, and that's one of the things, because you're a first-year coach with the Musketeers, so people need to know, before they start yelling and screaming how bad you guys are coaching, they need to know a little background. So where does it start? When did you start playing hockey, and when did you start and get into coaching and all this kind of stuff?
Well, probably started playing hockey around 4. I remember.
Where at?
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
So the suburbs, actually. So just watching the Chicago Blackhawks on TV as a kid, and started getting into it from there. Grew up playing for the Chicago Fury in Orland Park. Played my midget hockey there and was fortunate enough to go to the OJHL in Ontario. Played my rookie year of juniors there, and kind of traveled. Went back to Chicago, Topeka, Kansas, in the NA, and then I finished up in Cincinnati. I was fortunate to go to St. Mary's in Winona, Minnesota. So played 2 years there. Was kind of suffering from injuries, concussions, things like that. I had to kind of stop playing. So transferred to DePaul, Chicago. And I called the head coach for my brother, who was 18 at the time. So I was trying to get him on the team, and last second I was like, hey, what are you guys doing for coaches, by the way?
While you're at it. It's a package deal, by the way, Coach.
Yeah, it was completely random. But yeah, kind of met him and went from there. Spent my first year coaching, and I loved it a lot, and spent my next year coaching juniors in Chicago.
It's kind of one of those decisions you make to go from player to coach, and you make that decision, and you kind of hope it works out. But so far, it sounds like you really enjoy it.
Definitely. It's easy to coach because it's not really work. I love being at the rink, and definitely love being around the guys, so the days are short.
Now, since you're a Chicagoland kind of guy, did you play hockey against Ethan at all last year?
It was never against. We had a couple years difference, so when he was getting into major, I was getting into minor. We trained together over the summer, and then when he started coaching, he was training me during the summer as well. So
you got coaching from Ethan?
Yeah, I did.
Outstanding. You know, you both kind of sound the same, too. It must be that Chicagoland voice or something like
before.
That. No, and for people, of course, Ethan was with the club for the last few years and now over at Tri-City. Did you get a chance to talk to him over there?
I ran into him after the game. He's doing well there. He likes the organization, and it was definitely a blast looking at him across the bench, and that's always interesting. So,
yeah, you got to beat him next time.
We'll do our best.
As we look forward on the season, kind of give me, okay, so as an assistant coach, I asked this Taylor too, is what is your job? What do you do, or what do you manage?
Yeah, as well as being the assistant coach, I'm the director of hockey ops, so that kind of means I'm a jack of all trades. So I'll do anything from the equipment side, day-to-day activities, travel, logistics. So I got my hands full with that, definitely. And then I'll help out with the forwards. It's more learning than anything. Luke gets the lines, and I'll just kind of be in guys' ears a little bit. But just trying to learn from Luke and, kind of see where that goes.
Yeah.
So far, it's been great.
Now, so when the guys are going, God, we got pasta again, not pizza again.
Oh, totally me. Yeah.
It's a tough job.
Yeah.
To please 23 guys on a regular basis.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what did they judged your pizza in Fargo? Now I don't think you got positive reviews on that.
No, it's I called about 6 or 7 pizza places in Fargo, and it's actually really tough getting a delivery.
You have to have it delivered to the bus, but no, it's just kind of fun that way. At least it wasn't like a chain or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Got 2 games coming up this week. What have you guys looked on film on Waterloo first off on Friday?
Yeah, Taylor's ran a lot of video through Waterloo on fast hockey, and we're seeing just a lot of aggressive play. They're well coached, they're fast, and I think the biggest thing for Waterloo is going to be they're at our barn. So I've never been to
Olympic sheet.
Right, yeah, it's an ocean out there, and I think they've kind of tailored their systems according to that. So just playing our game and making them play in our barn will give us that sort of advantage.
They have a lot of experience, it looks like. I was doing starting my charts today, and I'm like, what is it about Waterloo that they always have really good returners every year, and they do again? I mean, got Ben Copeland, who had 15 points, Jackson Cates, who had 21 points, Ethan Johnson, who had 20 points. I mean, they weren't top line, but they were third and fourth line, and that Johnson I was really impressed with.
Yeah, it's those third-line guys, fourth-line guys, they come back the next year, and they're going to be the vets. They're going to be the top players. So it'll be interesting to see, getting a first look, in real time, what they look like.
Haven't talked about it yet, but coming up on Saturday is Des Moines. But and we can wait on even Pink. They got a number of guys returning as well. But Pink in the Rink is going to be on Saturday. Have you guys talked about all the festivities with that?
Yeah, we've gone into it a lot, and it's a special night for us, especially because Parker Ford's grandma, Mikkel, so she got diagnosed in 2013 and fought it and was in treatment until 2014. She's feeling better now. She's very active, loves to exercise, but I think it's one of those types of things where it's in your system for the next 5 years, so it's kind of lingering around, and it'll definitely be a special night for us and just supporting Parker.
It's too bad that he was not able to play.
Yeah, Fordo got checked from behind during our Pittsburgh series, and we'll be looking for a little revenge on that for sure.
You have that on. Are you guys wearing pink? What are you guys wearing?
It's pink with gray. So.
No, not the players. I already saw those.
Oh,
I'm talking about the staff
coaches.
here.
Yeah. Well, Luke will have a little surprise going. You'll just have to wait on that. We'll have pink ties, and I know the guys will come out with something special with their the tape and the laces and all that deal.
Outstanding. It's an awesome deal. Susan G. Coleman for the Cure, and also, of course, with St. Luke's. And get out there. Last year, over 47,000 raised. They want to do it again. You'll auction off the jerseys, and it's just one of those special events, except when you can't see the blue lines. But
Yeah. Yeah.
That's up to Dino, though. That's not up to you guys. He'll take care of it. A nice cotton candy ice out there is always kind of fun.
Yeah, I was talking to some of the guys today, Ron's, and it's our way of giving back, and it's good that they put in their hard work because it pays off a little bit for a good cause. So we'll see what happens Saturday.
Well, perfect. See, that wasn't that difficult, was it?
It wasn't bad.
It was easy. Nick Brusa, assistant coach with the Sioux City Musketeers. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Curtis.
All right. Last but definitely not least, we're going to find out how these players stay healthy. We'll be right back. Fox Sports Radio 620, KMNS. Musketeer Coach's show is right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Curtis Anderson with you. And now we have the athletic trainer. Welcome.
Thank you, Curtis.
Kedryn Orrison.
Correct.
Not Kendra, not Kendra, or
Yeah.
Well, because you look at the name and you go, well, it has to be Kendra.
That's a lot of people say that.
But it's not.
Yeah. It's not.
Work it out. Kedryn. Brand new trainer. I got all three new people here with the Musketeers. And you are doing all the training for them. When did you get the job? How long ago has it been? Because this was kind of they were kind of probably pushing to try to find you.
Yeah, it was about the end of August. I think about the 26th or so. So kind of cutting it real close to the beginning of season. And some of the guys were actually already skating by the time I got up here. So
The high schoolers.
Yeah, the ones that were already here, and obviously the local kids. But yeah, so it's been kind of a whirlwind to start, but now that we've kind of gotten everything that needed to be done at the beginning, it's slowed down a little bit. So,
when did you start being a trainer? Why did you become one, or what was the interest?
So I played sports all throughout my life, mostly volleyball, basketball, and then track. So in high school, I was never like injured per se, but I always had something going on, whether it was an ankle sprain, back pain, just kind of random things.
You hung out with the trainer a lot, is what you're saying.
Yes, I did. He was there 2 days a week during my study hall, conveniently enough. So I'd just kind of hang out there with him and listen to him eval other people and say, okay, this is why you sprained your ankle, etc. And he said, hey, if you're interested, there's this athletic training camp at NIU over the summer and
NIU.
Northern Illinois.
Gotcha.
Sorry, Illinois.
Yep.
So I went to that, and I'd been set on being a veterinarian my entire life, and went to that, and it was like, this is what I want to do for sure. So
it's the same thing, really. It's taking care of animals and taking care of other type of animals.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like that. Yeah.
And so, what was your first job as an athletic trainer?
Well, technically my first job, I suppose you could count, was my actual education because
Sure.
So I did an undergraduate degree at North Central College in Naperville, Illinois, out in the Chicago suburbs, and so we have to do 1,000 hours of clinical work essentially. So working with the college teams, with high schools. I actually did my internship with a professional soccer team. So all of those. And then my first job outside of that was actually with Taylor at the University of Wisconsin Eau Claire with the women's hockey team there, cross country,
good
track and field. Yeah. Then after that, I was at Minnesota State with hockey, men's and women's hockey there.
With Schmidt.
Yep, with Matt Schmidt, who used to be here.
Yep. So, yeah, I was going to say, if you came from Eau Claire to here, I think Eau Claire would be a little annoyed with us by now then.
Yeah, just stealing other people.
Yeah. Yep. Who's next? Bring them on out.
Yeah, right.
How do you have to have different training for different sports? I mean, how did you get into hockey? And was it just an opportunity?
A little bit of both. So I knew that I kind of wanted to go more towards the professional sports route and sticking with one sport versus working in a high school or college where you tend to see different sports. You work with more teams. And so I was between working professional soccer and working, trying to get into the NHL. And I did my internship with soccer, like I said, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this.
Did you have the magic spray in soccer that relieved these poor guys that looked like they were shot on the field?
I actually didn't get that until last year, so
they got the
I have
magic
it now.
spray now.
I have it now.
Okay,
yeah.
thank goodness.
Yeah,
Can you use it in hockey?
Yeah, actually.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
Magic spray, they pop right off the gurney and right back out to
yeah, pretty much
to get back on the pitch. I'm just kidding. What's the biggest thing that you have to concentrate on with these players then? Is it the ankles? Is it the knees? Is it where? The shoulders?
It's hips.
Hips,
yeah. Hockey is super strenuous on the hips, so that's kind of most of what I see is, groin injuries, like hip pain, all that kind of stuff is just pretty common.
You got a pretty good setup. It's like your own room over there.
Mm-hmm.
You got the tubs and everything else.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of the better setups I'd say in the USHL. Pretty comparable to, some college teams even too. So I got pretty lucky to be here. So
it's a grind though. It's 60 games, and you got to keep these guys. You haven't killed anyone yet either.
No, not yet. So I'd like to keep it that way.
So far, so good. How is it dealing with like a Parker Ford, without even talking about his injury? But obviously, it's to the hand area. It's do you stay with him on it, or do you wait till it heals, goes through doctor, then come back, and then do you do physical therapy with the guys if they're injured too?
So a combination, depending on the injury. Obviously, sometimes we'll outsource them to like a PT clinic or something like that. But for the most part, we try and keep everything in house. It works better keeping the guys around their teammates. That way, that they know what drills are going on in practice, what's up with the PK, things like that, and just keeping them around the team. I think it's important to, especially these guys that are not from here, that this is all they're doing is playing hockey, and if they're hurt and they can't play, and then they're not even with the team, it's kind of can affect them, head to toe, like not just physically, emotionally, mentally, all that kind of stuff. So with something that we pretty much try and have them do as much as they can. So if it's a hand injury, maybe they're out there skating. If it's a leg injury, maybe they're working on stick handling, but maybe they're not on their feet. They're lifting their weight.
Yeah.
They're doing something to stay in shape and still being around the team, still learning. So
we're talking training with the Sioux City Musketeers. Kedryn Orrison is the new trainer this year. I got one more area I wanted to ask you about is obviously the concussion has been a big factor in sports. In hockey it has to be huge because of checks from behind. I've always said that check from behind is the worst thing in hockey, or boarding, or whatever you want to call it. How do you where do you start? Do you do pre-testing with players, or post? How does it go, and how do you determine if it is a concussion?
Okay, so I follow kind of the same model that all the colleges that I've worked with. They've kind of a staged protocol. So we baseline everybody for what's called an impact test. It's a computer-based test that essentially gives individuals baselines for their reaction time, their visuals, speed, memory, et cetera, et cetera. And then if we determine there's a concussion, I'll eval them, say, yay, I think it's a concussion, nay, I don't think it is. And then it's kind of if it is a concussion, it's, you can't come back until there's no symptoms for 24 hours. Then we progress them through stage by stage. So first,
like 3 stages, isn't it, basically, or is it more than that?
3 to 5. It kind of depends on
how hard they can work without getting headaches or any effects.
Essentially, yep. So, and it's also different if it's a goalie versus a skater. So the first one would be like a light bike, and then it's some weightlifting, harder bike, trying to get their head moving more. Any
headache or symptom at all, then you start back, correct?
But you just stay in the same stage.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember even going overboard. I'm like, I got to go all the way back to stage 1.
No, we don't take them all the way back. We keep them there until they don't have symptoms. So if you get on the bike for 5 minutes and you have a headache, then you don't get to bike again until you don't have a headache, and then you just keep going.
Now, is it tougher on some players, without mentioning names, is it tougher to baseline some players than others?
It comes in about 15 different languages.
Okay. I was just like going, how do I baseline that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty popular test, so it comes in a lot of languages.
Do you have, most of the guys, if they're foreign born, they have pretty darn good English skills on this team.
Well, especially, somebody like Ranta, who's been here for a year. It obviously helps when they're in high school, too, because then they're exposed to it more.
Yeah, for hours.
Yeah, exactly. Just more hours of talking and listening. But no, all the guys are good. We haven't had any issues with communication, I'd say. So
now, as a female trainer to a male team, is that a pain in the butt sometimes dealing with the let's just say smells and everything else that go along with the or is it? I've never been on a female bus, so maybe it's just as bad.
The bus is usually fine. It's it's the post game before they're in the showers, because after the showers you kind of get the smell of soap all throughout the locker room.
At least it gets clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's the hockey smell that never goes away.
Yeah, you kind of just get used to it, I'd say. It's just one of those smells. You're there, you sit there and you smell it for long enough, and it just doesn't even bother you anymore.
Aspirations for NHL?
Yep, that's the goal.
I gotcha. Well, I tell you what, we're up against it. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Very easy, isn't it? It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Kedryn Orrison is the new trainer for the Sioux City Musketeers. Musketeer Coach's show is right here at Bob Rose North End Zone. You can catch it each week, either on 620 KMNS, or you can also tune into iHeartRadio. You can listen wherever you have service on your smartphone in the world. And Friday, Saturday, 620 KMNS, iHeartRadio, and, of course, Hockey TV. On Friday, it's the Waterloo Blackhawks. Saturday, Des Moines, Pink in the Rink. If you have to choose one or the other, come out for Pink in the Rink. It's an awesome deal. The ice will be pink. It'll be like cotton candy pink. The sweaters will be pink with some gray in there, so I can see the numbers, thank goodness. Whoever designed that, I was aptly pleased on that one. And, of course, they raise a lot of money for breast cancer awareness. So, all right, just like that. Every week, Musketeer Coach's show, 5 to 6 o'clock. We're at Bob Rhodes North End Zone. Stop on by and watch your favorite teams all week and all weekend long with your favorite beverage and great wings, pizza, and everything in between. The Musketeer Coach's show, and it's right here on Fox Sports Radio, 620 KMNS Sioux City.